What about today just starting instead of waiting for everybody to join? Should I just grab some recent problem? Some quick suggestions from the chat? What do we do? Only division 2 today. Nothing very difficult. Also, it's not that I will solve division 2A problems. Or easier, like division 3. Code a regular contest? Let's do Codeforces today. Hi, Mertilogat, hello, Coder Nihal. That's a cool name, Danger of Mud Snakes. What about choosing a problem based on the name? And I want something like Danger of Mud Snakes, just with lower difficulty. 2300 is already a lot. I ran out of greed. Is that a greedy problem? Oh, that's the one from ICPC contest. Is there any chance that I want to participate in ICPC contest later? Was it good? ICPC final standings. I want to see if people solved it in 1 hour. Maybe this is a good contest. So let's try to avoid things from this one. I think this excludes this whole interval. I'm not doing that then. Pokemon Army, Rock and Lever. Are you going to solve trivial problems like 800 or 1000? 1300? Is that fine? Buying torches. Let's start easy. Well, it's A from educational. Then maybe it's too easy. I will then adjust the difficulty. CubeCraft. I still haven't ever played Minecraft. Maybe I did for like 1 minute. I have 1 stick and want to craft K torches. I'm sure that I solved this problem. Wait. How is it possible? I know the statement. Was there another problem about torches here? Strange, very strange. Exchange 1 stick for X sticks. So if you have already a 1 stick, then you can increase by X minus 1. Exchange Y sticks for 1 coal. Minimum number of trades, you need to craft at least K torches. But wait, I don't see any torches here. Okay, 1 torch can be crafted with 1 stick and 1 coal. I don't like the problem. But if I've already went through the statement, then as well I can finish. The problem window is only on half of the screen? Yes, because I intend to have a drawing on another part, or the coding window. I don't have a command for task or like link to a problem, but you can always just Google the name. If you Google Codeforces buying torches, you will find it, right? And if you have some good suggestions, but I would appreciate an interesting problem or a very educational problem, not just, you know, something that you struggle with, you didn't want to read the editorial. What do we have here? We have 1 and 0, 1 stick and 0 things. You want to get k comma k at least at the end. And what you can do is either you can say plus x minus 1, but only if you already have at least one. You can increase the number of sticks, or you can do, this is another possible trait, -1 here, no, -y here and +1 here. So obviously, because I want k, those second type of things, maybe I need to write this down. This is call, and this second thing is a stick. Because I want k of this, and initially I have 0, then it's trivial that I want to make this trait k times. So answer will be for sure k for those traits, and also I need some number of this. The number of this I need, I think, is k plus k times y. That many I need to change them into calls, and that many I need at the end. So if I denote this by, I don't know, a, then I need, the number of operations I need is k plus a divided by x minus 1, a minus 1. X minus 1 is how quickly I produce them. A minus 1 is how many I need. For example, if x minus 1 is 3, and this is, I don't know, 20, so I need 20 more, then I need, what, 7 operations. I need to round up. I think that's the solution. If a is this, then here divide with the ceiling. And this is the easiest I will do today. Every later problem will be more difficult than this one. After doing this, I will go through the chat to grab some proposals. If you're watching on YouTube Live, go to Twitch for live chat. I'm only reading Twitch chat, otherwise it's just too difficult to handle. Wait, I'm opening something to code in. Give me a second. How will this be called? Codeforces.cpp. Okay. Always during this stream, if you need a problem link, just Google the title. Though, as well, I can paste in Twitch chat, every time. So this is a buying torches. Okay, int main. I will not implement every problem today. This is just a warm-up. This is some C++ thing. It's equivalent to just iterating and repeating t times. It's good to extract the test case to another function, then the code becomes more clean. Let's create everything as long because anyway I will need a multiplication. And taking the formula a is equal k plus k times y. After I read, of course. This order? Yes, this order. And what else? Answer is k plus, and this division on the right. Divide minus 1 divided by x minus 1. But I need a function for division. Something went very wrong with the compilation. What is that? Stream quality is 1080p. You can go to YouTube because I stream on YouTube at the same time, and then you can downgrade the quality. Please tell me what is wrong here. Version type character L. It seems like something in my operating system. Scanf, but those are long longs, so I need LLD. Maybe something went wrong. Huh. Maybe something went wrong with like Windows architecture. I'm not really everyday C++, no, everyday Windows user. It used to work. Well, instead of spending too much time on this, because I'm today streaming on Windows just to make better drawings for you. Let's just use CNC out. It's anyway easier to read for the chat, I think. Need 2 magical lines to make those fast. Division is some function. Was that wrong for the whole time? Wait, let me copy paste this, now get back. What if I change this to divide? Okay, still wrong. And divide with a ceiling. This is how you do it. When you want to divide by 10, you add 9 and then divide. Because then it's always, like, if you are between numbers, you will always round down this way. I mean, you will always round up this way. $14, 33, 25, something big, something big. Good. I'm surprised by this statement because I thought I know it. Accepted. Cool. I'm assuming that isn't LLD for double? No, it's for long long. I'm assuming that it's just some Windows thing. Like, I updated Windows and now my C++ is messed up. You misspelled divide? Yeah, that was earlier. Like div-d is what I wrote. But I think that wasn't an issue with, like, with scanf there was something wrong. Do I see some familiar nicknames in Twitch? Because then I trust you more with a reasonable link. Sense and JSkey. I will check out those. Proposals. By the way, on Codeforces, you can find here in recent blogs my announcement of now regular schedule of streams, including Saturday evening will always be easy Codeforces problem solving. And also there will be Among Us stream tomorrow, Sunday. Okay, one of those two, let's do. Also, I will see the tags always. I just want to know the difficulty. I'm not going to try something extremely easy or difficult. There's no tags here. Okay, D from division 3. You're afraid of recrawling? Not really. I see that people here suggest me problems from Codeforces. It's just that when I get 10 proposals, but 2 of them are from people I know, then I'm guessing that proposals from them might be better. It doesn't mean that I will never take a proposal from you for a problem. 2 arrays. We are given two arrays of the same length, and now we want to create a new one. The problem so far looks fine, so I'm pasting d0 quantity in Twitch chat. Okay, C will be some number times AI plus BI. Maximize the number of zeros in a new array. Numbers can be negative, they can be positive. You know what? We will do something even better. Do I have like a link or something like that? Add new command, link. Okay, I think it will be quite easy for me to update this. So now, Twitch, if you type !link, you will get a link to the current problem. I will also make this to be triggered when you type problem. I think that's a good idea. Command aliases, problem. Oh, strange, I cannot save. I can. Not working. It will work in a moment. Also, link has a cooldown of 15 seconds. So now link works for 15 seconds. Nobody will be able to do it. But also when you type problem, the same should happen. Like, you know, every stream I'm improving a little bit the quality of what I'm doing here. So now link, and I will keep updating this thing. Just remind me if I don't. Okay, doing this one, zero quantity maximization. It seems fine. Let's try to solve it. I want to get a lot of zeros. So can I get, let's say that I want AI times x, or I want exactly a1 times x. I chose x instead of d because x is some variable. Plus b1 is equal 0. a2 times x plus b2 is equal 0. And so on. I want a lot of those to be true. If I focus on one, if I just get one pair, a and b, then from that I can compute x in most cases. If I want to compute what x would be, then x is equal minus b1 divided by a1. Okay, so the equation is satisfied if x is equal to exactly that. So my first idea is for every pair, for every I, to compute this value, this real value, and just to say which real value is repeated a lot. What might be an issue? The first issue is that maybe a is 0. If a is 0, then I cannot divide. Let's think, before I compute this x equal blah blah, let's look at this first equation and see what happens when a is 0. Then we have equation of form 0 times x plus bi is equal 0. This is either always true, no, this doesn't really depend on x. I can consider every such equation first. If bi is 0, then this is satisfied. If bi is not 0, then this cannot be satisfied no matter what the value of x is. And I already here will start implementing something. Does this have test case? Nope. I will already say that read n, and I will skip those where a is equal to 0. How to do it? I prefer, maybe I will not even remember this, but let's do this. Int ab, if a is equal 0 and b is equal 0, then for sure answer plus plus. I know that this is satisfied equation, no matter what x is. Else, do nothing, because this is not satisfied, so just I will remove it. And else, otherwise, if a is not 0, then I will use the formula. I will later use something else, but let's say for a moment that x should be casted to double. What was that? Minus a divided by b? No, minus b divided by a. You need to cast to double, otherwise this will be rounded, because the division will happen with integers. And okay, let's continue with drawings. What exactly I need? If I have that for I equal to 1, I computed that I need x equal to 2.7. For I equal to 2, I computed that x is equal 1.5, and so on. I just want the most common of those numbers. And the thing with real values is that if you want to compare two real values, it becomes very dangerous. Maybe two values are very close to each other, but not equal. Maybe they are equal, but computer computed them in a bit different way. So I will, for a moment, use doubles, but I hope to get wrong answer to teach you something. There are three cases, if a is 0 or b is 0 or both are 0. It's not that you need to think about all the cases in advance. I know that x should be this unless a is 0, because if a is 0, I cannot divide this equation by a. Then I started thinking what happens if a is 0. I don't care about any case other than a is 0 here. I mean, if any case when a is non-zero, I have this. Okay, so I hope that I will get wrong answer here, but I will just say plus plus frequency of x. This is some map, a map from double to int. In division 1, sometimes you shouldn't use a map and you instead should create a vector, then sort, then merge consecutive values because it's faster. Map is quite slow, but in division 2 we don't really care about the constant factor that much. So map is fine. Okay, answer was that number of equations for sure satisfied. Those were 0, 0. Are they in samples? Maybe organizers should have included those in samples, but whatever. And now, most frequent, iterate over every entry, let's call it p like pair, in frequency. And p dot first gives you the value, the x we should use, and p dot second is that frequency. So I will say p frequency is maximum of itself, and the second. Okay, and print this plus the number of 0 pairs. Let's see if it works, but I really hope that I get wrong answer on real test. Here I got 1, I didn't really expect this. Actually, it gets accepted with long double, not double. I can believe that. Oh yeah, I'm misreading the input. Thank you, chat. Because input is first numbers a, then numbers b. Yeah, so yeah, let's change it. After reading n, create an array of size n and the other one. Read a of I. Oh, and I will keep mixing sin with scanf because I'm more used to scanf. I use scanf during competitions. You should use whatever is more comfortable for you. It doesn't really matter. Okay. Now I will just use a of I and b of I. I think I'm good here. Read the two arrays. Then iterate over I again. If 0, then something. Looks good to me. 2 was printed. I will submit and I will get wrong answer. Because doubles aren't precise enough. When you compute something and you will get 15 point something, and for the second time you compute something and you get this, you don't really know if those should be treated as equal numbers. Maybe they are equal, like in math they are equal, just like 2 divided by 7 is equal to let's say 6 divided by 21, but maybe computer will have a very small error, and then they will be treated as two different entries. It warns me about something here. No. And in some problems you can hack precision by using long doubles, stuff like that. But we'll do it better. We will completely avoid doubles, real values, and you should do that whenever possible. If you are like a beginner, if you'd only solve division 2 A and B problems, don't worry about it too much. But this is not division 2A problem. Okay. I want to find such entries, such indices I, that this pair is this value, this ratio is equal to some other fraction. And for that, what about just storing the whole pair? When I have here minus 5 divided by 2, I can compute it as minus, maybe some more complicated example, this. I can store this as minus 3.5, but what about just storing this as a pair? So what about changing my map so that it would count frequency for every pair? Now I will just increase frequency of a pair, minus bi comma ai. Does this work? It doesn't, because, for example, minus 7 divided by 2 is equal to minus 14 divided by 4. Some fractions are equal to each other, and then what we need to do is get them to their reduced form. So just find common divisor of, how are they called? Numerator and denominator. Find GCD of AI, BI, divide them both, and then do this. This is a little bit dangerous for A and B not being 0. Also, I'm not sure what will happen with negative values here. So what if I do this? Take the absolute values. And I think that in C++ everything is defined well if the second value is 0 in GCD. This is a bit dangerous. To make sure about this, I'll here type assert just to know what should happen. I think that this should be 6. 6 is the biggest common divisor of 6 and 0. But actually in some versions of C++ I know that this can give you an error. So later I will avoid it with some if, but during a contest I would put this as the first line. Then in a moment when I will run it, I will see if this is true. If it's okay that second value is 0, and then I will just get the first value. So yeah, divide like that, and I think I'm good. Just here the type changed. Let's run for the sample test. Gave me a correct answer of 2. Submit. Running contest 2. I messed up. Okay. Also, if my assert failed, I would already see it on the sample test myself. One moment, I'm doing something. Strange. Never mind. It is treating 5 minus 7 and minus 5 7 different. Oh yeah, I think I don't consider the sign correctly, right? So what I did is I took GCD of absolute values. I'm making sure that this is positive. So no matter what I have, like minus 7 divided by 5, I for a moment ignore the signs, compute GCD, here GCD is 1, and I divide by them. So for minus 7 and 5, I would divide both by 1, nothing will change, and the same for 7 divided by minus 5. So I need to do something extra, and this something extra will just be if AI smaller than 0, multiply both by minus 1. And now with this one additional trick, I think we should be fine. And we correctly got the unique irreducible form. This is also called canonical representation of something, of an object. You can read about it more, like you can Google this term and find more problems. Canonical representation, where for every object, like here a fraction, you get a unique representation, something that if you compute for every object, you will then be able to group via the same value. A similar problem is that you're given a string, you're given strings like this, and you want to see if this string is anagram with another string. Anagram means that you can reorder characters. Then what you do for every string is you sort it, or you count occurrences of every letter, QS, and then you say that this is canonical representation of that first string. Doesn't canonical come in organic chemistry? I have no idea. Maybe it is somewhere on the wall behind me. Make the denominator positive. What is more standard is in math or in geometry is to make b. Oh, actually here I have b over a. So yeah, every fraction I say that I want to get it to form x divided by y such that y is positive. Let's write down definition. Is irreducible if and only if y is positive and xy are coprime. Absolute value of x, y are coprime. That's my definition. I could here put an assert. Assert AI is greater than 0 and GCD of AI comma absolute value of BI is equal 1. Something like that. If I submit this again, it should give me accepted. Asserts are just some kind of like sanity check or something, where when you get wrong answer, you're completely lost. When you get runtime error, there are only a few possibilities for a reason. You see, I got now bigger running time. It's 360 instead of 250, because computing GCD takes time. That's actually a slow part of my solution, using a map and using GCD. From map I have log of n, from GCD I have log of value. So whenever I use GCD, it's slow. But you know, it doesn't matter if you get accepted in 1/10 of time limit or 1/5 of time limit. Okay, any questions? I'm mainly reading Twitch chat. And whenever I solve some problem, you can type !" problem or link. Remind me at the end of the stream to rate somebody on Twitch. I very often forget about that. I'm going to stream for around 2 hours, so hour and a half more. Okay, I see that we have a lot of proposals, but I was going to check out this second problem proposed back then. I already see some bits and I might want to skip it. I'm so late to start competitive programming. You're never too late. But if you are 50 years old, then yes, I'm betting that you will not get to the top of competitive programming. If you are 30, you're fine. Okay, I will give this a quick read, but I don't know if I will do it or not. Well, if I'm reading, then I should modify the command, right? This is that. Okay, now the exclamation mark problem should give you the link. Okay, I bet that this is something, either it's a trie, like TRIE, or some simple math. Should we do this or should we skip? Chat, tell me. So stay with this problem or skip? Just say stay or skip. This will be, well, I see here some binary representation, and I think we will need to draw a trie. Skip, 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 stay. Do it, I guess, is the same as stay. I think it's like I like the I don't know vote. That's quite even. So what about, we will do the middle possibility. I will solve without implementing. So I will just describe the solution. Malek Dance Club has 2 to n members, and another club has also that many members. So in one club there are 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, and so on, and the same in the other club, up to 1, 1, 1. Later they said that there is some x. X is, for example, equal to, let's say, 1, 0, 1. And then we can compute that this person dances with person from the other club of value this XOR X. That would be 1, 0, 0. The complexity of assignment is the number of such pairs of dancing pairs, A, B, C, D. So if this is AB, let's say that this is A and B. A is 0, 0, 1, B is the blue thing. Then I take some other thing, let's say 1, 1, 1 will dance with whom? 0, 1, 0. I XORed with this value. Then this is C and D. And I want A to be smaller than C and B to be greater than D. So this is indeed a pair I should count. Given a quite big n is up to 100, so also this number is huge. I cannot iterate over all those numbers because 2 to n is just huge. I need to count this. Obviously, with bits, the most significant bit is the most important. So here, if I can already say that if the first bit in A is 0 and the first bit in C is 1, then I have a pair I should count. Because after XORing with this 1, I have here the flip, 1 and 0. A is smaller than C, but the dancing partner is bigger for A. Make X and Y axis with A, B, and C, D. I don't think that's a good idea because the number of points is so huge. It's better here to think about bits. Though if you are given some just values from 1 to million and you have those conditions, then yes, maybe it makes a lot of sense to draw points on 2 dimensions, or 3 or 4 dimensions. But here I will look at bits. I know that every pair where this is 0 and then this is 1, this is a pair I should count, but it's easy to count them. The number of those numbers with first bit being 0 is 2 to n over 2. No, 2 to n minus 1. That's half of all the numbers, because the remaining n minus 1 bits I can choose however I want. That's 2 to n minus 1 times 2 to n minus 1. I will need to compute it modulo billion 7. Then what else should I count? I should now focus on the remaining part of numbers. I will know that this red shape is repeated here with in numbers that start with 1. I can make, maybe it will be useful to type those numbers here. Give me a second. A bit bigger. Okay, this is good. So now I already to the answer added 4 times 4. This is the number of ways to choose number from here and number from here. Now let's focus on this part. And also this is the same part. This is exactly the same, so I will just say plus twice, and here I will put some formula for the red part, for this one. And I guess I will just go through every bit and for every bit decide about something. And the times 2 is because if I find a good pair here, it also appears in this repeated area at the bottom. Okay, I said that x is 1, 0, 1. Then, if this is 0, I cannot get inequality after looking at this bit. I cannot say that if I take this pair, it's not a good pair. In those dancing partners, there will still be 0 and 1 on corresponding positions, so it is not true that top is becomes greater than bottom. Okay, so we just skip this bit. And we will add something to the answer for every bit, I guess, where there is 1. Okay, then what do we do further? I think we will then move to this area. And also this is repeated here and here and here. So I will again multiply by 2 and here put some formula for this smaller red area. So to sum up, I do something like that. If the first bit of x is 1, then to the answer I add 2 to n minus 1 squared. That's the number of ways to choose number with 0 at the beginning and then number with 1 at the beginning. Plus twice the answer for the remaining part of x. Let's say that here again there is 1. Then I will put here 2 to n minus 2 squared. That's because the number of remaining bits to the end is just n minus 2. Plus twice. And let's say there is 0 here. Then I skip this part, there is 0 here. Plus twice, because there are now again twice more areas. And so on. And close all the brackets at the end. This is how many I started? No, just 2. That's the solution. With bits, you should just focus on going through bits, usually from most significant or least significant bit. If you care about two numbers being greater from each other, like one being greater from the other, then you need to go from most significant bits. That's the solution. We can maybe simplify this a little bit, like to say that this 2 multiplied by that, it will be 2 to, I think, 2n minus 3. So this is just 2 to 2n minus 2. So I think it will be possible to figure out exactly that every bit in x, it contributes exactly some power of 2 to the answer. Maybe even that will become very, very easy. What about this? I'm guessing just looking at this. This represents number 3 in our system, decimal system. So I'm guessing that the answer is something like x multiplied by 2 to nth. Because this bit in x, it gives you this in the answer. This bit in x gives you a bit smaller power of 2 in the answer. So something like this, or maybe what to put n minus 1 here. But it's not that I think, already implement this thing without thinking, or try to guess from samples. It's not that during a contest you need to prove this. I bet that if this is easy to prove, you can just open editorial yourself and see it. I see that I didn't really remember this problem, but I see that I solved this 5 years ago in 2015. So we can see my code. I used Polish names back then, and my templates were completely different. But I compute powers of 2. Then I read a string, iterate over indices. If something is 1, then to the answer, add a corresponding power of 2. And if we exceeded modulo, subtract modulo. That this is n minus 1 minus I. So if the very first bit 0 is on, then to the answer we add 2 to n minus 1. Is that correct? Oh, and at the end I multiply by this. So it's more like here I could say that I add the power exactly this 2 to n minus 2 to n minus 2. Okay, we're done with the problem, and I bet that if you want to get a better proof, more about this problem, just open the editorial later. What is the name of this problem in Russian? Malek and Dance Club. Oh, that's this. Okay, they describe recursive solution, I think, just like I described with red areas, rectangles, and then they said that fx turns out to be equal to this. Okay, trash problem. This was a trash problem. I think it's a normal problem with bits. Okay, going through the Twitch chat for ideas, for suggestions. Solve today at Coder contest problem F. I think that at Coder regular F is way too hard for this stream. Kurama Codeforces, please solve this sum, this 15 dp sum, 1500 dp sum. I'm considering. I will not cover Codeforces educational problems, I think, because you already have a lecture for that in Edu. I also made, I think it's very stupid to cover it again then. I'm, by the way, making educational CF Edu lesson for Gaussian elimination. I will consider this. Can I find a closed formula solution for this problem? It doesn't sound fun to find a closed formula. Segments, 1800 segments problem. I see that it has 2 versions, D1 and D2. Why don't I see difficulties for some problems? Is it because they are very old or something like that? That's a long statement, but maybe. This is that link. Again, just type exclamation mark problem in Twitch. If somebody is watching this later after the stream or just on YouTube, Google Codeforces, Mortal Kombat Tower, and you will find the problem in 5 seconds. N bosses, numbered from 1 to n. The type of every boss is something. So easy 0, hard 1. During one session, either you or your friend can kill 1 or 2 bosses. To kill them, he uses skip points. This will be some trivial educational DP problem. Suppose that your friend can either kill the first boss or the first 2. Mean number of skip points. And we want to minimize the number of hard bosses fought by your friend. Okay, yeah, because if your friend fights with those 2, then this is a hard boss, he needs to skip it. Then you have a decision between finding 3rd or maybe 3rd and 4th. Then your friend gets easy boss, then you can take 2, then he will get the final one. Fine. Can we do greedy? Maybe just your friend needs to take at least 1, and he will take the other if and only if it's of type 0. Can this strategy ever hurt? Dynamic, please, there is a greedy approach, but I'm teaching you in general approaching problems, and it's very often in problems like this one where we optimize something that during a contest you should think about greedy. Maybe you get some reasonable idea. If you think that it's good, then try it. Otherwise, think about DP. So for a moment, I will talk about greedy. There is some sequence, and now an obvious strategy we can try is that our friend, he kills 1 boss, and he kills the other boss as well, if and only if this is of type 0, so if it's easy. When can it hurt? I think it can hurt only... It's nice for him to get closer to the end. If the remaining are only ones, so every boss is hard, and we want to just finish game quickly, then from this moment always I will fight 2 bosses, he will fight 1. I take 2, he takes 1. Then it's good to get closer to the end. What if maybe the next boss is easy, and it would be nice to leave this boss to him? So what if it's better to say he takes this, I take that, he takes this, I take something here. Okay, what about this test? If he takes the first 2, then I take either this or those 2, and he needs to kill at least 1 bad boss. Let's say that the first is 0, but this doesn't matter. Okay, but instead I think we can do 0. He takes this, then I take the second boss, he this, and I take those. So it isn't incorrect. My first greedy idea is incorrect. This is a counterexample. And I showed you exactly how I would get a counterexample. Just think that if we want to fail this, then how can he incorrectly take something greedy? Okay, then I think that if there exists a greedy solution, you should think more about the number of zeros in a block. We see how many zeros there are consecutive zeros, then how many ones, how many zeros, and we get some strategy based on this number, like the size of the current block and the next block. I don't know if, like, somebody in the chat told me that there exists a greedy approach, but I don't care. You can later read the tutorial if you want. I will instead now say a moment something about the DP approach, and that one for me is absolutely obvious. And if you solved tens of DP problems, this is just the easiest possible DP problem, because after some time of the game, at any middle point in this game, at any point of time, we already dealt with some monsters, and to know what can be the next move, obviously we need to know at what stage we are right now. So let's say that we killed already this prefix, then that's one information we need to maintain in order to know what can be the next step. And also we need to know how many monsters, how many hard monsters the friend killed already, and whose turn it is now, in order to know if we should increase the count. Just also think about simulating this process in any way. Then to simulate this process and know the answer at the end, you need to maintain where you are. So you need to know the current prefix, the prefix already killed, whose turn it is, and how many monsters killed, how many skip points we used. That was the statement described that. Okay. And this is what we minimize. So I will put that as DP value. DP of prefix is up to n, and who is up to 2. I will create such an array, and the definition is that DP of I and 0 or 1, DP of ij, is the minimum possible number of skips already by the first player. If I already killed I monsters, so now I'm looking at monster I, that will be the next to kill, if I count monsters from 0, and now this player will move. I need to initialize this by saying DP of 0, 0 is the initial state. I assume that the first player is 0, the second player is 1. This is 0, because I say we use 0 skips so far. It isn't incorrect to say that DP of anything else is 0, like 5, 1. I don't know at the beginning that it's possible to get to this monster with 0 skips. So I don't know yet this value. So anything else I initialize as infinity, and later it will be really computed. I started with this, everything else is infinity, and I move forward. From state ij, I consider moving to either I plus 1 and j XOR 1. XOR 1 means that I take the other player from 0, 1, from 1, 0. Or also consider this, going to I plus 2, comma, j XOR 1. You have this decision. Such an arrow, it means that we say DP of this state is minimum of itself and DP of this state, plus the number of skips we use for this. So if the current j is 0, the first player, then we need to write a line DP of this is minimum of itself and DP of this plus 1, for example. If we need 1 skip, you need to count. That's how you should solve DP problems iteratively. I will not implement this fully. I have even a 5-hour stream on youtube.com Errichto where I solved 26 AdCoder problems. You can see a lot of me implementing stuff there. But the main point is to iterate over I, over the player, and here do a line like this. So 1 is minimum of itself, just copy paste this term, minimum of itself, and DP of ij plus skips here. And skips here, a moment earlier I computed 0. If j is 0, then and type of I is equal hard, skips here plus plus. If j is 0 and type of I plus 1 is hard, skips here plus plus. This part, this always depends on the problem. The problem will tell you what is the cost of being in some state, being in some cell, what you need to minimize. This is just those arrows from the drawing. From which state you can go to which state. At the end we need to print dp of defeating already n monsters, and we don't care whose turn it is, so I will print minimum of this and dp of n1. I want to defeat n monsters, I don't care whose turn it will be. Fine. If you have questions, I'm reading the Twitch chat. Why do you have j equals 0 in both cases? Because only if this is the first player, then you want to add. Here I said, so this is code for jumping by 2. If I want to go from I to I plus 2, it means that I kill 2 monsters. Monsters with indices I and I plus 1. And if they are hard, I want to here count how many hard monsters I'm killing right now. And if it's the turn of the first player, then I need to add it to dp. I'm doing only Codeforces problems today, let's say. So chat only Codeforces suggestions. How do you decide what needs to be stored in dp? I gave you my whole thought process, 100%. In particular, I said that they asked, I said that we need to simulate this process in any way. I need to know where I am, whose turn it is, and how many I already skipped, because that's the answer. I need to print it at the end. And they ask me to minimize this, so I'm saying that this is value of dp, and the remaining 2 are dimensions. What are dots in min? I said that, minimum of itself. Just copy paste this expression. Say that getting here is possible with that many skips so far. Just like at the end you can type ans is minimum of ans and something. Then I call that we minimize answer with something, xyz. Okay. How to get good at implementation of math problems? Practice them. But also it helps to be good at math in school. If you're still in school, you need to attend your math lessons. Never iterate over I iterate over I here. I don't know I don't understand your question. This is of course a pseudocode. I said that I will not implement the full thing. This is not the full code. I just showed how to consider an edge from I to I plus 2. So this one. You need to do the same to consider going to I plus 1. I don't use C++17. What should I do in my code differently to use C++17? Extremely short statement. That seems... Wait, it said no such problem. Oh, because the dot was... Guys, don't put a dot after a link. Apparently it messes up the link. How to do it? I will say copy. What's the difficulty? Remove extra one, this link. Okay, Twitch command works. Not in school and also not really good at maths. I'm solving questions on implementation, but still not able to come up with optimal solution. But it's all about practice. Solve more problems, you will be able to solve problems better. But also you can go through a math book with math exercises, and then you will be better at math exercises. Given a permutation, remove one element from permutation to make the number of records the maximum possible. Record with this. So we go from left to right, and I want a lot of times to get a number bigger than anything before. Maybe for the first time today we need to think about algorithms and data structures here. Okay. First of all, it's good to understand really what is that record thing. They said that from permutation I need to remove one element and then count something. Let's for a moment not think about removing one element. Let's just think about this. Given a sequence, understand well what is that count, what is the answer. Given a sequence, we should for every position add 1 to the answer if this number is greater than anything before. If this is 7, then, and this is maybe a long sequence, then add 1 only if those numbers are 6 or smaller. Like this, 6, 1, 2, and 4. Then this 7 is a maximum so far. Also 6 is maximum so far, and maybe here if we have 5 and then 10, then 10 is the next maximum. In this drawing so far, I have 3 maxima, like 3 what they called records. Have you disabled tags on Codeforces? But I saw tags in one problem. I will take a quick look now. Maybe it's easy to fix, but I want to see tags now. You shouldn't really, when you solve problems yourself for practice, you shouldn't really see the tags because that's a hint. No. I had them off for unsolved problems. This is why I saw it for some problem. In settings, there is a setting for this. Now I see that it's 1700. Mainly I care about this when choosing problems for a stream. Okay. For this sequence we have that. Now we are given some sequence like this 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. And for such a sequence, for this particular one, it's obvious what we need to do. I need to remove 5 because it covers so many elements. Maybe it's actually an important sentence. It covers so many elements. When I remove an element, it unlocks some following elements. Let's maybe look back at my previous sequence, this one, and let's see what happens when I remove something. If I remove 2, nothing will change, because those elements like 4 and 1, they are anyway covered by 6. You can think about this problem as this. There are columns. This is a first column of length of height 6. Then there is 1, 2, 4, 7, and so on. And the question is, which columns you see if looking from the right? If let's say from the left. If from the left there is light or something like that, then here this will be visible, then this and that. We ask about columns that are visible. Those are completely hidden. And now removing one of them doesn't change the drawing. We need to remove one of columns that is visible. For sure, I need to remove one of those numbers that are records at the very beginning. And what happens when I remove such a column? It would be nice to say that when I remove column 6, then everything here, before the next special column, before the next record, that it becomes record as well. That's not true. That's not true because if I remove 7, I didn't want this. If I remove 7, then this doesn't automatically becomes visible. It's about, we need to also care about the previous column. Let's make a bigger drawing to understand what happens. There are some visible columns. There are some invisible columns. Then there is a bigger visible column at the very beginning. The height of a column is just number from the input. Maybe immediately we have even bigger one. Then some of them are covered. Then something even bigger, and so on. And while you can now think more about some smart data structure, segment tree observations, blah, 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 it's actually very easy to finish this problem, where we say this. For every special column, for every visible number, so number that is greater at the beginning than anything before, just go linearly through this sequence, through those white columns just after it. If we know that here at position I there is a big column, then on position J there is the next one that is bigger than I, then from I to J I can go linearly and process what happens if I is removed, and then just for J I will do the same thing with columns that are after J, like this, that, and so on. The solution will be iterate for every red column, check what happens when it's removed, and the only thing that might appear red as well is white columns before the next red column. White means not visible right now. So for this red I will consider those, for this red I will consider those, for this red I consider nothing. What if we just remove the first big column, asks Jeff. Removing any big column in between will only decrease the total number of big columns. That's not true. Here's a counterexample. Maybe the first big column only shows one more, but later there is this one, and it hides a lot of white columns. Maybe 1,000. You don't know shape of the drawing. In this case, if we remove this one, the answer decreases by 1 because I removed red column, but then it increases by 4. What will happen is I lose one red column, but then some number of them appears, maybe 0. It depends on the white part. And do I want to implement? I will ask you guys in a moment. Okay, Twitch chat, again, quick voting with just a word. Should implement or skip? I can implement this or move on to another problem. So implement or skip. And yes, the first part would be to find red, or may I wonder if it's possible to do everything in one go from left to right. Implement. Okay, then for sure I will implement. Let's get the statement, let's get code. No test cases. What do we have? For given permutation of this length. I care about maximum so far. Maybe I want a vector. This will be a list of, red is a stupid name. When somebody will later read the statement and read my code, they will not understand. But red column is named from a drawing. Actually, it should be called max so far, but let's say red. I want to gather red columns. Here I will do if pi is greater than max so far, red pushback I. Those will be positions of red columns. Max so far is just initially, I don't know, -1. This is a value, prefix maximum. I want to read with C. And we can already test this. Iterate over things in red and print them with a new line, just to see what's going on. I will try a permutation of length 6 with values 2, what then, 4, 1, 3, 1, 6 and 5. It was supposed to be 6 and 5, but doesn't matter. Now it told me that positions of maxima are this thing, 0, position 1, and position 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because 2, 4, and 5 for this sequence would be red columns. Okay, so this works. My only goal with printing this is two goals. One is to check if my code so far is correct for just some arbitrary sequence, and to show you what I found. Now, if I now print red.size, this would be the number of records defined in the statement without removing anything. And I will say that, is it allowed not to remove? The element that should be removed. Oh, I will need to print index, not the number of maxima. Okay, that's fine. Okay, now I think it will also be possible that I'm not removing any red. To do, what if we don't remove red? If you in C++ put something as warning, then everything will compile with a warning. It's a good way to mark something as I need to deal with that later. And I think what will happen is when I remove one red column, I unlock white columns after that, but maybe 0 of them. So maybe I only lose some part of the answer. It might happen that it's better to remove a white column and just leave the initial answer. Maybe an example of that will be sequence like 1, 3, 5, 2, 7. It should be a permutation, but whatever. Because here, if you remove 1, 3, 5, and 7 are red, are maxima. If you remove any of them, 2 is not unlocked. So you only decrease answer from 4 to 3. Instead, it's better to remove 2. I will deal with that at the end. Let's do the main part. For every just index in red, this will be confusing. This is just temporary index. I have I is red of iRed, j is red of iRed plus 1. Sometimes this doesn't exist. I will fix this in a moment. I have this column for I and column for j. I need to go between them with white and see if I remove red, if I remove I, what will appear here. Okay, now what if this doesn't exist? I will make a nice trick for that, not to deal with it. Why is... Wait a second. Why is the right part of the string black? Oh, because Genie doesn't take the full space. And never mind. Red pushback n. By this, I say that at the very end, after position n-1, there is one more red column. So let's say that this is really the end of the drawing, exactly here. Then I say that there is a fake red column here, just so I could consider removing j and moving to that next one. It's very useful to avoid ifs. Then consider reds up to this one, and now I consider removing I. Consider removing column I. And I know that J is the next one. Then I say max so far, so prefix maximum is P of I. Iterate with, let's say, index K from I plus 1 up as long as you're smaller than J. Check if P of K is greater than max so far. Oh, I messed up something. Oh, now because I remove it, I should take the previous red column. Like here, if I remove I, then this for a moment disappears. So when I investigate those white columns, this is the maximum, the previous red. It is possible that previous red, it's not previous column, it's previous red. That's very easy to mess up, I would say. So we can, yeah, red of this. This might not exist. So again, either we make some trick like here, red pushback -1, or I think this time let's do it with an if. If I red is already 0, then -1. This means if my index in reds is 0, so if I'm considering the very first red column, then say that maximum so far is -1, otherwise take the previous red column, because I know this is the biggest on the left. Okay. If I'm greater than maximum so far, then increase the number of reds. Max so far becomes this int this way. I iterate through my white columns that you see here, and for each of them, this was maximum so far, and now for each of them, if you are higher than maximum so far, then increase the number of new red columns by 1. This would be the first white column greater than that, so then I say this is maximum, and increase the count of new reds by 1. Cool. Now if int candidate for the answer is red.size -1, this was how many reds there were, -1 because I removed one, plus new reds. If candidate is greater than, let's say, answer, whom remove is I. Okay. Answer will be the value. Like how many red columns I will have, and whom remove is the thing I should print to the output. And while I only need to print whom remove, I will also print with CRR, so then you can even submit with this to Codeforces. This will not be really judged. Answer is answer. Just don't print too much, because that would slow your program down. Compilation failed. Whom remove without D. We're deep down the rabbit hole now. It is a trivial problem. It's a medium problem. This shadows some previous variable, because I used max so far here. I don't like reusing variables, but let's say that I'm using a global one again. It's very bad if you use one variable for something in one place, then you stop using it, you don't care about its value, and then you reuse this same thing. It's quite dangerous. You will make some bug and you will not understand why is it 2. Oh, because I set it like 50 lines before. Okay, let's see what will happen for samples. Whenever I hit F5, it unfortunately runs on the second monitor. I can get 5. If I remove the first one, this doesn't seem good. Answer should be 4. I know that 5 from sample is the same as this 5, but no. 0 is index I'm printing, and then my program thinks that it's possible to have 5 red columns. That's obviously untrue. If I remove this, then it should find 4. Oh, I know. To red, I pushed back this fake item. So now this shouldn't be counted. I need to additionally subtract 1. This -1 is because I remove 1 column. And this was the number of reds at the beginning. Maybe this will be better. Initial number of reds is red.size at this moment. And so before I add the fake element to say that when removing the last red column, I iterate to the end of the sequence. And this is init reds, then here I will put init reds. This was the number of reds at the very beginning. I'm removing 1 red and I increase this. Also, I noticed that I have indexing from 0 to n-1. They have it from 1 to n. So when printing index, I need to add 1. Let's again run. I'm printing index 1 and answer is 4. Oh, but they don't want the element. I'm printing index, I should print the element. So whom remove is not I, it's p of I. Then I don't care about +1. +1 was to fix indexing 0 through n-1 versus 1 through n. Finally, we have the output of 5. If there are multiple such elements, print the smallest one. Oh, that's important. If there is a tie, then decide about this element. Or candidate is equal answer, and then I will just do this. If it's not worse, then maximize. Damn it. Is equal answer. So if there is a tie, then decide about with the value and whom remove. If this new guy to remove is smaller than whom remove. I could put this as a single if. It doesn't matter too much. Either if I found a bigger number of red columns to have at the end, or it's the same, and then they said if in case of ties print the smallest value. I'm doing that here. But I think that this is completely unnecessary because I consider red columns from left to right. So I will first consider the smallest column, then bigger red column, and so on. And this means that if there is a tie, then just take the first guy. I considered column with height 5, then consider something with height 10. So just say that only if the one on the right gives strictly more columns than override. Because otherwise, in case of this tie, the earlier one was better because it's shorter. What are we coding? We are coding this Codeforces problem, but we're at the end already. One last thing is removing non-red column, and in particular I can try this sequence, and I bet that the answer will be wrong. 5, 1, 3, 5, 2, 7. My program doesn't care that it's a permutation. My program thinks that I should remove 5. It's not a good example. There is something wrong here, right? It said that if we remove this, the number of red will be 4, but that's not true. 1, 3, 2, 7. 2 won't become unlocked. Something is very wrong, do you agree? Maybe I'm missing something. Let's try to understand this. New reds, iterate from I plus 1 to the next thing. If this new value is greater than max so far, initial max so far is red of that. The previous red column. This the new reds increased by 1. But this shouldn't happen for a 2. I don't know if anybody here sees a mistake, let me know. What will that be? We can do printing. Init reds should be 4. I'm printing with CRR so that I even later don't have to remove it. Print also what red contains, and when I found anything, I will say print I, print J, print new reds. So I now added so many printing parts that I need to remove them before submitting later, because otherwise I would get time limit exceeded. Cannot print that much. Was that the test? Don't remember now. Init red is 4, that's correct. The indices of reds 0, 1, 2, 4 and 0, 1, 2, 4 and the fake one. 5 is fake. When I consider 0, 1, when I consider removing this and going to 4, I see one new red. Oh, here it's index. I should take the height. You see, I took index of the previous red column, but max so far should be height. That was an issue. What can CRR do? What can it print? It can print anything, just like cout. Just it prints to error output. You can later kind of Google CRR versus cout. There are two outputs. You can print to error and debugging output and to the standard output. Basically, to error output you can print whatever and it will not be judged as wrong answer, unless the exception is if you print too much you will get time limit exceeded. Okay, but still I work with this test because it's wrong answer, because we should say that we removed a 2. It's better here to remove a non-red value. So if this, then else we have a non-red value and I want to find the best non-red value. So the smallest. And in some case I will print it. So here answer by default is, okay, if any of them was found, best non-red is not int max, then whom remove is best non-red, And then answer is, I think, init reds. This is how to consider the fact that I'm removing a white column. But then I need to get back with this minimizing, because I don't know if it's better to remove red or white. I can now remove my warning, and I claim that this is enough. 1 is printed, and now 5 is printed. The rest are just debug outputs. I will submit this, and I won't be surprised if I get time limit exceeded. This is basically to show you how this works. Extra one. I need to remove those lines with a lot of printing with CRR. Maybe this. Oh, wrong answer. I didn't expect that. CRR. Now I should be faster. Well, during a contest I cannot do that, but during Absolving I can cheat and I can just look up the test. Wrong answer. Expected 1, found 2. In this case, we remove a non-red value. So my best non-red didn't work. Oh, obviously, minimum. Best non-red was supposed to be the smallest column, not being red. It was a very silly mistake. You can submit on the right with submit button, but I prefer to copy paste the code. Ban the spammer in YouTube chat. Oh, okay, doing that now. Hide user on this channel. Done. Thank you, Manhar, for letting me know. Accepted. Cool. That took some time, so for sure, if we are to solve anything else today, it will be easier now. This was hard problem of a day, let's say. Can you do stress testing to check your solutions here? I can, but I'm not going to do that today. For sure, you can see that in maybe not hundreds, but tens of my streams already. Will I do binarysearch.com contest? Is it today? I will take a quick look. Go to contest. Start in 20 minutes. I might. Not really. I think I will not participate. To be honest, I promised my girlfriend that I'm ending a stream today at 8 p.m. sharp, so that's in 20 minutes, and that we spent an evening together, just likely watching something. Don't close the stream today, so I was going to finish the stream anyway in 20 minutes. Oh, simp, yeah, sorry about that. Sorry that I disappointed you. Okay, easy problem. When you paste a link, I think you can already notice that I prefer to choose links with some short description. Like somebody earlier said, this is this DP problem where blah, blah, blah. Or somebody said short statement. When I just see a link, it doesn't really convince me. It's 1 minute for you. The thing with you should solve CSES problem set. The thing with that problem set is that it's a challenge that there is no editorial. If you want to solve problems and ask for help or just get a solution, then solve Codeforces problems. CSES is good for people who have a teacher or for people who who just want a challenge, I guess, and already know what's up. They know different techniques. It's indeed bad to solve CSCS like yourself if you are a very beginner. Check the runtime of your solution without submitting. Yes, you can generate a huge test and you can measure the time on that test. Usually I would then create another file, generator.cpp. That file would print a huge test and would then plug that big test to my solution, and I would measure the time. You can do that with whatever tool, like your phone. In Linux, it's possible by saying time I run on input file. I don't remember how it's possible in Windows, but for sure you can do something to print the running time. Binary search contest for real men. For sure, more real men than lead code contests. Lead code contests are bad. Binary search good. Why binary search doesn't work for this? Without reading the statement, I will tell you binary search doesn't work if something is not monotonic. But I'm not even opening the problem because most likely, maybe not most likely, maybe you messed up the solution. So, I need to choose a problem. Somebody suggested this earlier. Well, that's 900, maybe a bit too easy, but I will consider. That's a very stupid problem, isn't it? You're given a sequence that you can swap two neighboring numbers. You want to make the sequence sorted. And generally this number n times n minus 1 over 2, this is the number of swaps you need if the sequence is sorted decreasingly at the very beginning. It's like a well-known fact. If this is the sequence, then some algorithm like bubble sort will use exactly that many swaps of two neighboring elements. Bubble sort, I think, is the one where it repeatedly goes from left to right and swaps neighboring. You can get this number by saying that every two numbers will, like 4 and 2, once they will swap with each other. And so then it's n is the number of ways to choose a number, and minus 1 to choose the second number, divided by 2 not to count every pair twice. That's basic math, very basic combinatorics. And they say if you need more than this minus 1, then it's bad. So they just said that check if the sequence is at the beginning decreasing, strictly decreasing. I'm not implementing this. It was not decreasing function, but two pointers worked and binary search failed. I don't know why, maybe you want to read the problem at least. I will take a look. I don't like the statement, too long paragraph. Problem set consisting of n problems. With difficulty, difficulties are increasing. You need to take a subset of those problems, not necessarily consecutive. For each problem but the hardest one, there should be a problem with the difficulty greater than the difficulty of this problem, but not greater than twice the difficulty. Okay, so if I have problem 6, I need to have something bigger than that, but smaller than 12. Smaller equal 12. You have to assemble one with the maximum number of problems. Okay. Well, I don't know how exactly you wanted to use binary search, but this will work. Start from the or maybe not. For every problem, if you want to find a candidate for the next problem, so if you want to take problem X, then you want to take what biggest problem, no wait, maximize or minimize? Maximize. Then shouldn't we just take the next problem in the order? Like to take 4 here, we will just take this interval. I don't see why we would jump and make gaps. If you want to take 5, 7, and 10 to the sequence, then take 6 as well. So just, yeah, so from where? Okay, okay, how did you use binary search? I don't see how to use binary search. We just look for a sequence for a consecutive subsequence then, such that this condition holds. So for every number we check if a of I is, if a of I plus 1 is smaller or equal a of I. If yes, then we continue, otherwise don't continue. The whole solution is this. Count taken is 1 because we start from item I, while a of I plus 1 smaller or equal twice ai, I plus plus count plus plus, and answer maximize with count. That's the full solution, right? Where do you want a binary search? Am I wrong here? I'm going to submit this because I'm confused. Do this, print the answer. I'm not even going to compile this. Looks fine. No compilation gang. Creating the contest. Also for this problem, I find it familiar. Okay. I didn't include anything. Well, non-compilation gang. Easy. Well, so I'm not able to answer a question about binary search because I don't see how to use binary search in this problem. Use Microsoft Whiteboard. Why? I mean, I like my drawing software. In particular, I can do this. I don't think if it's possible in some other software. I can also move this around. I did my research on drawing softwares and I chose OneNote. I used upper bound of this and found the maximum. Well, it's not that every element should be good with the first element in the contest. Just every element in every problem in the contest must be good with the next one. If binary search didn't work for you and 2 pointers did, it means that you implemented 2 different algorithms with them. Just the logic was different. In the while you need to check you don't go above n. That, how do I delete a comment? That was a good comment to have. I was aware of that, but which OneNote it is, I don't know. I'm on Windows now. Can you explain this, please? 2400? Nope, not doing that today. I only have time for an easy problem. Just tell the logic for the problem this. Segments 1800. I saw this comment before, right? Keep sorting. Bits using bits we already did today. 1700 geometry. I will take a look. Oh no. Okay, I like geometry, but not the one with circles. Table has the form of a circle. Its radius equals r. Gerald or Gerald invited many guests. We need to fit plates. With yes and no problems, you need to be so careful about precision errors. So what do we have here? Perfect circle. They must touch each other and touch the edge of the table. So like this. Wait, if they must touch each other, can it happen that they are too small? No, they don't need to touch each other. This is fine that they do not do that. Moving Twitch to the side. And this is not really an algorithms problem. But what would I do here? I would say that this is center. This is like, this thing would be uppercase R, the big radius. This would be lowercase r. What can I do here? I think that I need to look at this rectangle. Because this is a tangent, I will make a bigger drawing. Can you do that in the Windows drawing thing? I think that this angle must be the right angle. So now the yellow part is big radius minus small radius. So this yellow part is r minus r. Then this red short part is lowercase r. What do I know this? Oh, I don't care about that. What I need is angle. Then for if this blue thing is alpha, then I know that sinus of alpha is equal r divided by the yellow thing. From this, with arccosinus, with asin, you can compute the alpha, and then you can see how many plates will fit. Because like if you draw those lines, every angle like this is 2 alpha. Maybe new color. Okay, let's say white. You can split the drawing, and each of those parts, this one, this one, this one, this one, it's 2 alpha. So using this formula on the right, you need to compute alpha, and then you check if n times 2 alpha, if it fits in the full, 360 degrees, 2 pi. You don't use 360 in code, you use pi. This is a math problem. Let's not do those in the future. I will not. I don't suggest problems like this one. It's not algorithms. But yes, you need to be. I even have a solution for that. What do we do? we compute r divided by r minus r, and we compute r cos sinus. We compare this cut. This is Polish for count, angle. Now angle multiplied by 2n we compare with, I guess, as in r cos sinus of 1 is a way to compute pi, or like pi divided by 2, if you don't want to hard code the constant. This I should just, because I have pi here, I should just use it. Tangent alpha? No, I don't agree. We have the right angle is here. The drawing was this. If I remember correctly, sinus of alpha is x divided by y. Right angle means 90 degrees. The perpendicularity. Should we finish with this not really beautiful problem? I hope you enjoyed this. If you have suggestions, I see that YouTube is spamming a little bit. I might experiment in the future with turning off the YouTube chat or just streaming on Twitch only. I also tried that in the past, in the recent past. Priamoj ugol is right angle. In Polish it will be kąt prosty. Priamoj actually sounds like prime, to be honest. Actually, to be honest, I don't know English. Okay, if you're on Twitch, you can... Oh, you don't need to go anywhere. I mean, you can here hit Discord server, but also in the chat you can type exclamation mark Discord, and I'm going to do it now. Join Discord if you want to hang out with me, my other viewers, and if you have some suggestions, there is a channel there to make suggestions about how these streams should look like, what should I focus on more, or just YouTube videos. Why is there no subscribe button? Because I don't have one, I'm not an affiliate. Just go subscribe to somebody else. Spamming Among Us link, okay, I'm bummed. Well, it wasn't that bad, but I don't like posting something 3 times in a row. YouTube, always remember that I'm interacting with Twitch chat only. I'm double streaming to YouTube mainly so that I wouldn't need to then record anything and upload to YouTube. Plus some people prefer to watch on YouTube, so you're welcome. You can do that there as well. Cool. Thank you everybody for watching. Have a nice evening or day if it's morning for you. And see you tomorrow, 8 p.m. my time. Schedule is on Twitch. During Codeforces Among Us stream. I will take a very quick look here if somebody responded anything. You can read that. Yeah, go give this a read. I will also paste on YouTube. Oh, we talked about Errichto in the beginning. Thank you. I will test the add points command. This works? Okay, yeah, it works. Thank you, Manhar. 1-1. Twitch doesn't work very well. Yeah, I spent some time thinking which one is better. I will most likely just turn off the YouTube chat. How to deal with precision? I will not be able to answer this in 5 seconds. We are raiding somebody. So let's see. Should we raid NWSL official? I want programming. Somebody doing algorithms? Any suggestions, chat? Perfectly, I want Codeforces, lead code, competitive programming. What happens on Discord now? I don't know, memes, a little bit of programming, Among Us. Codeforces, lead code, C++. Where is the C++? It found some, I don't see it. Recommended channels. He's a big guy. He doesn't need a raid. Just somebody with only a few viewers. Why so few? Oh, Free Code Camp plays Among Us.
What's up?
This is a guy from the big YouTube channel with free videos, right? This is an amazing YouTube channel. Like with 5-hour tutorials on, for example, C++ or data structures. Okay, then what about you chill out during this evening? Because I assume for most of you it's evening. And he's playing Among Us, right?
I don't know. I don't know how long we'll be streaming it for.
Raid.
A little while.
Here you go. Oh, it's it's not the creator. He probably means that it's his 13th day of learning at Free Code Camp. Okay. Anyway, that's fine. Let's rate him. So thank you everybody for watching. See you tomorrow, Sunday, for Among Us stream, and the next normal stream is Tuesday. Tuesday will be hard at Coder Problems. Bye bye.